All right, well, we're going to get started since it's a little after 1. I want to respect your time. I'm really, excited to see so many people here for our orientation, including some new faces, which is exciting too. Where this is a new member orientation, but if you haven't been on our website for a while or haven't really engaged with SIBA in a while, I hope you also get a refresh on what we can offer you. To start out, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about SIBA. Our main mission is to give you the tools that you need to survive and thrive. We offer education, advocacy, networking, and continued support, including setting up new booksellers with mentors. So if you'd like a mentor, contact me or Candace, our membership coordinator, after the orientation, and we'll help set you up with a mentor who'd be a good fit for your store and your goals. And this is true if you're not a new bookseller, but would like some more personal mentoring, just reach out to me or Candace, and maybe we can partner you with a bookseller who's doing something along the same lines. So before I go further, I want to introduce you to the SIBA team. Joining me are Nikki Leone, who'll be leading you through the bookseller areas of our site. Robin Wood, our social media coordinator. And Candace Huber, our membership relations coordinator. Each of the team will take a few minutes to introduce themselves. And I thought we'd start with you, Robin.
Hi, everybody. So I'm SIBA's social media coordinator. I have the same role for BINC, the Booksellers Charitable Foundation. So if you don't know about BINC and want an update about that, you can also ask me about that. But and then I'm also the social media manager and a part-time frontline bookseller for Books and Books at the Studios of Key West. So I do those things, and I am going to take a second and drop in the chat SIBA's social media handles. So please, if you are so inclined, give us a follow. But also, when you make posts that you think are of interest, either to consumers or to your colleagues at SIBA, I basically will reshare store posts and I share them to SIBA when I think they are good examples of best practices that, a great idea that you guys can steal. I will share it to SIBA, or congratulations, so somebody's opening a new store or got a prize, or all of those kind of fun things. I will share to SIBA when they're promotions that you're doing, or just really great pictures of your stores, or any of those kinds of things. I will often reshare them on the Southern Bookseller Review, which I know we're going to talk more about, but that's the consumer-facing channel that's designed to increase interest and drive consumers to spend more of their book dollars at indie bookstores, specifically in our case, Southern indie booksellers. So if you tag me when you share things, if appropriate, I will often reshare them. We're also doing a series of store quotes. We got a bunch of testimonials from the Southern Book Prize ballot. We invited people to share something they liked about their favorite indie. And so we're doing a series that showcases those nice testimonials. So if we got one for your store, you may see that pop up. And in many cases, I'm asking people for a photo that I can use that goes along with that. So I did one last week for bookmarks, and I have a couple more in the queue, and you'll start to see those roll out regularly on a weekly or maybe twice weekly basis. We'll also be doing the 21-day racial equity challenge. So you'll see a bunch of those posts come through, and we hope you'll, again, use them and share them, and get involved with us on social media. Thanks.
Thank you, Robin. And next, Candace Huber, our membership relations coordinator.
Hi, everyone. I'm Candace. I'm the Membership Relations Coordinator, fairly new to the SIBA staff and very excited to be here. I see a lot of faces that I know or have emailed with, so hello to everyone that's here. And so I own a bookstore as well. So my bookstore is Tubby and Coo's Mid-City Bookshop in New Orleans. We're a genre fiction bookstore. I've done that for about 9 years now. So I am right there with you as a SIBA member bookstore as well. And I also teach for the Professional Bookseller School for store operations and for events management. And I'm the new dean of the finance module for the Professional Bookseller School as well. So those are some things that I do outside of SIBA. And for SIBA, I'm really excited to right now be focusing on member engagement. SIBA has never had this position before. And so I'm really working on reaching out to everyone. A lot of you have heard from me already, and if you haven't, you will very soon. So I want to check in with y'all. One of the biggest things that I want to know from you is how SIBA can better advocate for stores, because that is something that SIBA is looking to do better. And also working on just also helping with recruiting and sort of like diversifying the SIBA membership is another one of my big projects. So I see a few stores that I've like reached out to because I saw you were opening. So I'm really glad you're here, and that's part of what my job is. And then also just to make sure that you are all getting what you want and need from SIBA. So if you ever have any questions about your membership or really about anything, I am here for you. And I am really excited. We want to really try to increase core membership and make sure that all of you have what you need. So that is my job. Please reach out to me anytime you want. I am always happy to hear from you all.
Thank you, Candace. And Nikki Leone.
Okay, hello everybody. Yes, I'm Nikki. I am the person who is usually bombarding your inboxes with email from SIBA. I do a lot of sort of operational stuff for SIBA and run and maintain the website and write most of the newsletters, and more recently also run the Southern Bookseller Review, which is SIBA's sort of consumer targeted advocacy for bookstores based on the kinds of books that you all are talking about and interested in selling. So I actually do sort of a lot of things for SIBA, and the odds are if you have a question about something with your account for SIBA or how to do something with SIBA, if you email me, I'll be able to figure out what to do and how to help you. So.
Thank you. We are also joined today by several of our board members. Jamie Southern, Jamie Anderson, and Julia Davis. And Jamie Rogers Southern, I wondered if you wanted to say a word about board engagement with our store members, or just a hello.
Hi, everyone. So glad to see so many faces. Yes, I have been on the SIBA board for a few years. I'm currently your SIBA board chair. We concentrate a lot on board member linkage and communication. So like Candace, we really want to hear from you and get to know you and your needs so that we can make sure that SIBA is doing everything to support you. That's what we exist to do. So anything, I'll put my email in the chat, and please reach out for anything. I love to talk about bookstore problems or questions or, whatever. So feel free to reach out for anything.
Thank you. Julia or Jamie Anderson, did you want to speak?
I'll say something real quick because I'm going to be on and off camera possibly because I am the only one in the store today. So I did want to jump on and welcome everyone. And I'm here for your needs. I will put my very long email address in the chat. If you don't get it there, you can always, of course, go to the SIBA site. You'll find it there. I'm always accessible. I want to do what I can. Of course, I do want to see a little more diversity within the organization. I want to do what I can to help that. So I would love to hear your thoughts and where that is lacking and where you would like to see growth. But in all areas, I am here for you. I am an open book. So welcome.
Okay. On the topic of where Nikki mentioned about getting lots of emails from SIBA, there are a couple of ways before we get into the member benefits. There are a couple of ways that you can engage with SIBA every week. And one of them is e-blasts. And these e-blasts are publisher-sponsored emails that come to your inbox from a SIBA address. Publishers send these through SIBA to get your attention, and they often offer advanced reading copies, opportunities to order signed copies for your customers, registration links to events they are hosting for indie booksellers, and other promotions. These e-blasts often represent the key titles that publishers want you to be aware of. And they're also an important source of revenue for SIBA, and they help fund educational programming throughout the year. So please open the e-blasts and check them out, because by doing that, you show publishers that investing in SIBA booksellers is valuable. And you'll also get on their radar, possibly for author events in the future. And you'll also be supporting SIBA at the same time. So we really appreciate that. The other thing I recommend is if there's one email from SIBA to open during the week, it's the one on Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central Time. It is our weekly newsletter to you all, and it contains our upcoming programming, scholarship opportunities, and industry news that we believe is important for you to know about. If you don't already receive this weekly email on Thursdays, let us know, and we'll make sure that you're on the list to receive it. So some programming that's coming up very soon. First is our 21-day Racial Equity Challenge that begins February 6th. This is our third annual challenge, and we invite you to participate and sign up, you and your staff. Participants receive daily emails that contain prompts for reflection, discussion, and action. SIBA will also offer a virtual session at the end of the challenge with Gerard Grant of Cultures Connecting, and that will help people who've been taking the challenge to integrate and process what's come up for them. This is free to SIBA members. The next is on February 9th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, noon Central Time. We're hosting board office hours. So members of the SIBA board will be on hand for an hour to take your questions, hear how things are going at your store, and learn how SIBA can better help you. And the last piece of programming to mention is in March, 9 bookstores in 8 states are hosting bookseller gatherings as part of SIBA's March Madness programming. These gatherings will run from 10 to 3 local time, and they include education from the host store, an author luncheon, and then an idea share among the attendees in the afternoon. And the idea share is where everyone who attends shares 1 or 2 things that are doing really well at their store. So attendees will come away from that inspired. Last time we did this was in March 2020, and booksellers loved it. The events are entirely free to SIBA booksellers and include lunch. So we hope you can sign up for the one nearest to you and bring your staff. They're listed on SIBAweb.com, and that'll be one of the things that Nikki will be going over when she shows you our site. So now I'm going to turn it over to Nikki to bring you through some parts of our website, which is a portal to a lot of information. It is going to be a lot of information, so I hope that after you see her go through it, you take time on your own to noodle around and see what's there for yourself. So I'm just going to turn things over to Nikki.
Okay. And Linda Marie, I can't see the chat window when I'm sharing my screen. So if somebody has a question, break in and let me know.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So yes, this is SIBAweb.com, our website, and we like to do this orientation periodically because, well, yes, there's a lot of things that are updated information, and unless you are, oh, can you all hear me? All right. Unless you are like, regularly visiting it, the odds are that you might miss something that's up there. So we just want to give you a quick and dirty tour of what to find and what you can find and where you can find it. So what you're looking at right now is the homepage of the website. The big thing to know about this is this sliding, this little slideshow here is the programs and events and things that are upcoming that are most important for you at the moment. So this updates whenever we have a new program coming up. And these are all things that are relevant right now for you all. So we have what's our current Read This Next books. We have the Southern Book Prize, which is the ballot is closes on February 1st. And we have, as Linda Marie said, our Racial Equity Challenge information and our March Madness Bookseller series. So if nothing else, you can always click on one of these slides and be taken to the information about that particular program. Also on the website, front and center is a button for contacting SIBA, a button for finding bookstores, SIBA member bookstores. And if you scroll down a little bit further, there's also, you'll see a list of the upcoming events on the calendar and the latest news that we posted. So hopefully between all those things, you'll be able to find whatever it is, that you have a question about that sort of seeped into your consciousness from a mention or a blog post or a social media post that you saw. You'll find more information right here. The other thing to know is under SIBA's About SIBA section is where you can find the contact information for all of SIBA's staff down here and SIBA's board here. So that's where if you have a specific question about either SIBA operations or if you want to reach out to one of the board members, they all want to hear from you. That's where you'll find their information. The other thing is that we have a newsletter, as Linda Marie said, that is published every Thursday afternoon. We always have the most current edition under news. Here's last week's newsletter. And so if you can't find your newsletter, you accidentally deleted it from your inbox, it's here. And we also run a news feed of information that is posted as we get it under the news tab. And so you can see recent information there as well. So the news section is where to go to look for something recent. The home section, the About SIBA, is where to find SIBA's staff information. And then of course the booksellers tab menu item is where you can find more detailed information about most of SIBA's programs as they are, being launched. So here's where you'll find out more information about the Southern Bookseller Review, about the Southern Book Prize. We're not going to launch it until later this spring, but New Voices, New Rooms is returning for 2023 to host our fall show. And one thing that will be launched this week, as a matter of fact, you all might, if you took the holiday catalog last year, you'll probably get an email today from them this year, today, about the fact that they're opening orders. So that the orders for holiday catalogs are opening this week. So you'll see more information about that in SIBA's newsletter this week as well. But detailed information is always found here for some of these major programs. And then the only other thing is we do have obviously an events tab, and this is where you would go to actually register for specific events. Here's our Racial Equity Challenge. We're, really excited about that. This is the third year that we've done it. We've had a great response. And I will say, if you've done the challenge before, it's a little intimidating. It's 21 days of things to reflect on and questions to ask yourself and soul searching and resources and ideas that you can implement in your store and in your life and in your community. And we update it every year with new information, but even I've done it every year. And even though I do it every year, there's always something new for me. You know, that there's just so much to take in that every time I do it, I have a fresh perspective. So those of you who have done this challenge in the past, I urge you to do it again because it's always worthwhile. The other main thing under events right now is March Madness. This is going to be a lot of fun for people. I will say you do need to be a member of SIBA to register for this, but you can register all of your staff. So store owners, if you're planning on attending one of these events, and you can register for multiple ones. There's, like Linda Marie said, there's 9 events across 8 different states. So you can register for whichever ones you think you can get to. And once you are in the registration process, you can add staff members if you'd like. So also staff members or your employees can register themselves if they are in our system as well. So if you would like to make sure your employees are in our system, you should email their information to Candace, and Candace will take care of that for you. Let's see, am I talking too fast? No, still good?
Still good, great.
Oh, okay, so the last thing I want to talk about in detail, and move these little windows over, is about accessing your SIBA account. And the reason why I want to talk about this is because, you know, there's actually not a whole lot of reasons for bookstores to access their SIBA's account unless they're trying to register for an event or renew their membership dues. And so it's the kind of things that you all tend to do only once a year or so. But the information that you put into your account, SIBA does use. And so it's important to us that it be as up-to-date and accurate as possible. For one thing, we publish a bookstore directory, a Southern bookstore directory that, for example, lives on the Southern Bookseller Review website and newsletter. And the information that's on there, your address and contact information for the store, is something that we pull from your accounts for SIBA. So periodically we ask people to double check and make sure that everything is up to date. To be able to access your account, there's a sign in button right up here on the upper right of the page. And if you do not remember your username or your password, you can either reset, or you can email me or email Candace, and one of us will get you in. But once you've logged in, you're taken to sort of your member profile page. And this is just sort of a recent activity that is happened for your, it's analogous to like if you have a profile on Facebook or something. But what you can do is over to the right, we have a menu for things you can do specifically for your profile. And one of them is manage. And this page is where you would update your information, make sure it's all up to date. You can, from this page, set in your preferences how often you want to receive email from SIBA, for example, or what sort of format you want to receive things in. You can check any events you've registered for. If you have any outstanding invoices for anything, they'll show up here. And you can also, if you're a bookstore member, and SIBA has membership for bookstores, and then also what we call sub-accounts that are basically your employees and your staff who can sign up for SIBA as part of your bookstore. It's associated with your bookstore. And so if you're a bookstore, if you're what we call the main account for your store, you can add all of your staff via this sub-accounts area right here. And what that means is that they would start to receive email from SIBA. They would get those e-blasts, they would get a newsletter, they would get information and offers for review copies and things of that sort. So it's entirely up to you. I will say that you can't, if you sign them all up under your store's email address, it's entirely possible that you'll get like 5 or 6 copies of the newsletter to that email address. Whereas if you sign them up under their own unique email address, then everybody will get their own unique email. So that's how you manage your profile. It's something that, like I said, not a lot of stores pay much attention to, except this time of year when we send out requests for people to check their information. But it is important that you keep it up to date, because that information, like I said, will trickle out, and it will show up among other places in the directory of Southern bookstores that we do publish on the Southern Bookseller Review. So we want to make sure that we're sending people to the right place for your store. So, and then the last thing I want to talk about is the Southern Bookseller Review. And some of you are probably familiar with this. The newer stores might not be. This is a website and newsletter that is published. The newsletter is published once a week. We also do a special topical edition once a month. And what it is purely a list of books that the booksellers have been reviewing and really, really like. We originally started it to give publishers a sense of the breadth of the different kinds of things that SIBA booksellers read, because for a long time, publishers would only contact SIBA about books that were Southern in nature, and that those would be the only books they wanted to promote to SIBA territory. But you guys read all sorts of things, and you're highly enthusiastic about many, many different kinds of books and authors and genres. And so what we do is we take the reviews that you guys send to us or to Edelweiss. We get a report of the ones that you post to Edelweiss, and we publish them and link them back to your stores for purchase. So Southern Bookseller Review right now has about it's approaching about a 10,000 person subscriber list, and we publish between 6 and 8 reviews in each newsletter, and each of those reviews has a picture of the book and a place to buy it, and if they buy it, it will be sent. The person who clicks on the buy button will be sent to that store to buy the book. And we think that's a way to sort of raise the visibility of your stores among readers and among publishers, because publishers notice when their books are promoted on these. All the publishers have subscribed to this newsletter. And also Robin will take these reviews, and every weekend she does these weekend read posts on social media where she picks a children's book that has been reviewed and an adult book that's been reviewed, and she sends those out, and I know staggers them between the different stores and the different kinds of books. And we're hoping that ends up raising the visibility of you guys, and hopefully some book sales too, but mostly it's to raise your visibility as a store. So I think that pretty much is at the end of was there anything else I missed, Lorraine?
I wondered, there's actually a question. What if we don't sell books directly on our site? We only do online fulfillment through our bookshop site.
Yes, we actually have, let's see if I can find one here. Bookshop, we do bookshop books. Here's, for example, Fiction Addiction. Their website does sell books online, but the books that are listed on their site are the ones that they have in stock at the time. So they asked for us to link all of their reviews to their bookshop site. So that's not a problem. The whole point really is to get readers used to seeing the kinds of things that your stores and your booksellers like to read and recommend. And we make sure that anytime the book is, any possibility of purchasing the book goes to your store somehow. The other thing is, I've sort of lost my window here. The other thing is that we've been systematically sort of expanding the options. One of the things that we've done, for example, is we've recently started including links to audiobook versions. If the audiobook is available on Libro FM, and if your store, as the reviewing store, has an account with Libro FM. So Main Street Reads wrote a review about Someday Maybe. And yes, you can buy the book from Main Street Reads, but you can also get the audiobook from Libro FM. And it will automatically click through to the Libro FM account and ask the person who's doing the clicking if that's who they want to buy the book from. So we're trying to make it as, I don't know, easy and enticing as possible for readers who are interested in a book to be able to get it, but mostly to get it from your store and to associate that review with your store. The other thing that I wanted to mention about the Southern Bookseller Review is that we have set it up so that a store's books are all categorized and tagged by that store. And we have something like 70 different stores who have posted reviews at this point. There are a lot of stores here. And we have fixed it so that if you like, and if your website will allow this, we can generate a feed of your store's reviews that you could actually post on your website that would stay always up to date with the most recent reviews that have been published from your store. An example of that would be, let's see, here's East Shaver, I think, does this. And this is East Shaver Books. And as you can see, here's their homepage. And as you can see, down here, right on their homepage, they've listed some books that they've recently reviewed. And the nice thing about this is that it will automatically update as SIBA publishes a review from your store. It will automatically appear on the page on your own website. So we think of it as, like I said, this self-maintaining staff pick section that you don't have to do anything except put the little widget on your website. Let's see if there's another store that does this. I think Fiction Addiction does this as well. Yeah, here's Fiction Addiction. And you can see that they've also posted it a little further down on their page. And there's God's Ex-Girlfriend that they just published. So anyway, so if your store tends to write reviews of books on a regular basis, like say once a month or so, and actually post them either to Edelweiss or is willing to send them to SIBA, then I would actually recommend that you consider doing this, because I've noticed that a lot of stores, almost every store has a staff pick section on their website, but it's one of the hardest things to keep up with, really, because you have to go in and manually do it yourself. Whereas with this, you could post it on your website, and as long as you are posting reviews to either Edelweiss or to sending them to SIBA, then it will sort of appear on your website as they're published. So, okay, so I think that's it for me. If there's any other questions.
The only other, well, there are other things, but I think for today, to keep it short, I just wondered, since you create, Nikki, marketing materials for Read This Next and the Southern Book Prize, if you could show where you can access those marketing materials on sibaweb.com.
Okay, so
because these are great marketing materials that you could use with the display of books.
Right. So marketing materials, we tend to publish them with programs as they're launched. So let's see. We have, for example, the Read This Next. It's January 30th, so we're still showing publicly the January picks. Some of those were really, really good books, by the way. But next month, February's list has already been published. And so one of the things we did was, we wrote an article about it. It appeared in the newsletter. It will stay right here as well. But we do also publish in there a list of bookseller resources. And these are things that your store can use in-house or on your website or in your newsletters to help promote the book. I know Country Bookshop regularly uses them to promote Read This Next titles. And for Read This Next, we always create a flyer. Let's see. That you can download and print out. And this is the first page of it. And the reverse side has some of the reviews from the different bookstores that reviewed those particular books. The Southern Book Prize. All right. Materials are usually found on the Southern Book Prize page. We do with the Southern Book Prize when we launch it. The ballot opens in November, the first week of November, and it runs through February 1st. And we do make the ballot itself available as something that you can post on your website if you'd like to. At this point, it's probably too late for that. But when we do the holiday catalog, when that gets launched later this week, there'll be an article, and there will also be all sorts of assets and things that are developed, and we'll have links to those in the article that we publish. So, okay. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing and turn it over to you all.
Thank you. That was great.
Okay.
Does anyone have any questions? They want to unmute and ask any questions of the SIBA staff or the SIBA board members? Well, we have posted a lot of our email addresses in the chat. You can also find them at sibaweb.com. And we really want you to reach out if you need any help, or if something we went over today, it was a little fast, you need us to go through it one-on-one, we'd be happy to schedule an appointment with you. And we've also recorded this session, and it'll be posted possibly this week, so you could go over it again if you need to figure out how to log in and access certain areas of the site. So I think that'll conclude our orientation, and we hope you see you at other programming in the future.